Massimiliano Allegri and Milan, how are they doing this first part of the season? I think a lot better than what people expected. One thing's for sure, all the haters are back on the bandwagon. Il carro del Milan, everybody's back on top. All the people that hated Milan for selling Reinders, all the people that hated Milan for selling Theo Hernandez, all the people that hated Milan for getting Allegri, because Allegri was finished, had a horrible stint at Juventus. What did we say on this channel? That Allegri was probably not the coach that everybody wanted, but probably the right coach at this historical moment for Milan, for what he could do defensively and what he could do in the locker room, which were the two biggest problems for Milan last year. We saw what happened with Theo and Leao, with Conceição and Fonseca. We saw that Pavlovic, Gabbia, Tomori were horrible last season. Do I still think that Tare could have gotten another name, another bigger defender for the defense instead of Pavlovic, Gabbia, and Tomori? Absolutely. I still don't think that they are starters in top teams. However, with a centrocampo that can filter, that can bring down the plays, they're actually looking pretty decent. With players, workhorses like Fofana and Rabiot, with a brain in front of the defense like Modric, who's playing like a 20-year-old, let's be honest. He runs after every ball. He won, I think against Napoli, he had 4 defensive tackles, besides being the entire brain at the centrocampo, with somebody like Rabiot, who is one of the favorites for Massimiliano Allegri. And a lot of people, including myself, what did we say about Rabiot? We said if he comes and he concentrates on the football, it's a great deal at 10 million euros and 3.5 a season. If he comes and with his mom starts doing all kinds of trouble, it's going to be a disaster. That's what we said. That's what we said. But at the end, Rabiot right now, fantastic. Fantastic. He seems like he's been part of this team forever. Seeing Modric at the end of the game on his knees, esultare per la vittoria del Milan, guys, he's won everything in his life. He's won everything. Everything that could be won as a player, he won, including the Ballon d'Or. He is an example for everybody else. He is an example for everybody else. Rabiot is an example for everybody else. This team, the mentality, and everybody says it. If you hear all the players in every single interview, they all say, un'aria nuova a Milanello. They're breeding a different type of energy. Right? There is something different at Milanello. It's no more of that crap. Everybody's united. Everybody's together. And you see it on the pitch. Everybody fights for everybody. Even Fofana, that everybody criticized. Fofana is no good. He's no this. Is Fofana looking good? Fofana is looking more than just good right now. And on the bench, you have Ricci. You'll have Yashari who comes in eventually. You have Loftus-Cheek, who's a type of player that Allegri really likes. I think he's a bit too fragile and he doesn't put his physique into play enough. But guys, Milan at centrocampo is very good and dominant, and you can see it in the games. And Allegri, what he's done with his centrocampo is make that defense look good. And they're playing with confidence. And everybody underestimates the victory of Udine. Why? Because if you lose to Udine, that means that you have 2 victories, a defeat, and you have to start over. Instead, you continue on that winning streak. You meet Napoli with a different mindset. You beat Lecce in Coppa Italia. You win against Udine. You win against Bologna. You win against Lecce in Serie A. Guys, it's a mentality. Winning helps winning. And Allegri, for the locker room, for the defensive side of things, is very good. Is very good. I don't think anybody can deny that or take that away from him. And all the haters, all the question marks on Allegri, so far, he seems to have make them eat their words. No, it's still too early. It's only 5 games in Serie A, 2 games in the Coppa Italia. But so far, they're looking good. We won't get too excited. Can Milan win the Scudetto? I don't know. Will they fight for it? I think they can. But it all remains to be seen. Milan has very important games coming up. Juventus this weekend. Can they beat Juve? I think they can. Could they lose against Juve? I think they can. I think right now, both teams could come up with the win. Juventus is Juventus, Milan is Milan. But they have that mindset. They have that mindset. But Milan's team is short a bit, right? Defensively, if one of the three goes out, you have the Winter, who I like so far. And then we didn't see the new kid yet, right? On the right-hand side, Salmakers go down. Atekame, can he be your starter? Big question mark. Estupinian, some good, some bad. Did something very naughty, if you want, against Napoli. A bad decision, bad move. Down to 10 men. Will miss the Juventus game. Will Allegri invent Rabiot as quinto di sinistra, or is he going to put Bartesaghi? Who knows that he surprises everybody that he puts Rabiot as your winger with Ricci, Modric, Fofana a centrocampo. That's something I could see. Or he could go with Bartesaghi and keep the team as is. Leao will be back. Will he start from the beginning? I don't think you can do without Pulisic. But this Milan team, guys, coming together. Coming together, and we said it. Even after the Cremonese game, we said it. That team couldn't present themselves that way, but we needed to give them a chance. And everybody is allowed to make mistakes. Even ownership is allowed to make mistakes. We suffered last year. Everybody hated them, and I understand why. They had fired Maldini, and there's still people out there crying for Maldini. Nobody cares about Maldini, guys. Because if last year they would have hired Tare instead of putting Furlani in, nobody would have cared. Same discussion with Reinders. Reinders left. Everybody, oh my God, they're selling their best centrocampista, one of their best players. Who cares? Who cares? Because this year we see it. Rabiot, Modric, Fofana is better than anything we had last year. So it doesn't matter. Is this Stupinian, Theo Hernandez? Absolutely not. Is Theo one of the best out there? Absolutely. Was he horrible for the team the last year? Absolutely. We need to move on. We need to move on. And it's not about liking Maldini. It's not the point. Teams change. It's a different mentality. The Americans have a different way of seeing the sport. They're not used to it. It takes time even for them to adapt. But what did we say last year? We said they hired the wrong coaches and they didn't have a DS. What did they do in June? They hired Allegri and they got Tare. And yet, everybody still complained about them. Everybody still complained that Milan didn't spend enough money and they still had money left over from all the sales. No, who knows that Tare kept some money in case we needed to add something at Gennaio. Who knows? Who knows that that was maybe the thinking? Who knows that it was like, Massimo, do you think you could do it with this team? Yes. If not, we'll adjust in January if we need to add somebody. Hopefully, we won't be too far. Nobody knows, guys. Nobody knows. We're not in the locker rooms. We're not in those discussions. But yet, everybody seems to throw them under the bus for everything. And that I can't stand. I'm a fan like everybody else. And I understand that you make mistakes. But everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves a chance. Let me know what you think. Write in the comments. Like and subscribe.